CFRC, the local community radio station that comes out of Carruthers Hall, recently won the chance to host a regional conference of other local radio stations out of 20 from across Ontario and Quebec.
That's huge, isn't it?
It's a massive amount of radio stations. And it won the chance to hold the conference right here at Queen's University in the JDuck, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's amazing.
I find people that are on the radio quite cool.
Right, like your show Topical Forest.
Oh, you didn't have to mention
Sorry.
me. It's a shame.
Sorry.
Now you've brought it up.
Well, tune in.
It's embarrassing. That's backfired. Anyway, we sent the camera crew along and a reporter to go and see what CFRC's conference was all about. Let's have a look.
Queen's University, CFRC is our campus radio station, but not a lot of us have been behind the doors to find out what goes down in the offices of CFRC. But anyways, this weekend, our campus radio station won the winning bid for the Ontario and Quebec Regional Conference. So let's find out what was going on with the regional conference, who came out, what technology what they were making, and on top of that, what does CFRC do? I'm Radha Taylor here with Queen's TV. Well, what's the overall point of the conference that you actually have running here? And you were mentioning that's a regional conference as well. So what exactly are people coming together to discuss, and why Queens?
Sure. The regional conference is an opportunity for campus and non-campus community radio stations from across Ontario and Quebec to come together to learn new skills together and to share resources and just to meet face-to-face to talk about issues of common concern. This is also a chance to raise awareness in the Kingston community about community radio and the great community radio station that we have here, CFRC.
Speaking of CFRC, what does CFRC stand for?
Well, every station in Canada gets a 4-letter call signal. So technically, it doesn't mean anything. But back in 1923, one of the first broadcasts of the station through the experimental license it had received from the government through Queen's University was of a Golden Gaels football game. And so the legend has it that CFRC stands for Canada's famous rugby champions.
But you were just saying that's about a football game, so where does rugby come in?
Football, rugby, I guess in those days there wasn't much of a difference.
How many different radio stations or representatives from radio stations came down to Queens to take part in this?
We had 20 different radio stations register for the conference. So they're reaching as far as a guy that came from Thunder Bay.
Ooh.
And a guy that came from the lower north shore of Quebec, which is right next to Labrador on the east coast of Canada. So quite a wide geographic range of people that made it here for this conference, which is really amazing. Also lots of closer to home rural stations are represented. People from Renfrew and Campbellford and Peterborough and Haliburton, places like that.
Okay, I'm from the Toronto area, so I guess I've heard everything from, Flow 93.5 to Z103 to, things, I guess those are considered mainstream radio stations. So what really differs that from your community stations? Like, is it just the type of membership involved or the type of content that goes up there? What really is the difference between a community radio station and a mainstream radio station that you have?
Well, there's a couple of crucial differences. The first important thing is that it's a community access station. So anybody can walk in the door, learn broadcasting skills, apply to have their own program and tell their stories or play their music or express themselves creatively through the radio medium.
Come back to the conference. What do you find were the most interesting parts of the conference or the most memorable parts of the conference this weekend?
Well, yesterday morning, one of the first sessions of the conference was a transmitter building workshop hosted by New Adventures in Sound Art, a group out of Toronto that facilitates radio workshops and puts on radio art festivals. So 15 people took soldering irons and little electronics components and each made their own radio transmitter so they could each be their own radio station in a room.
You have a huge age range that's actually come in today. It's not just Queen's students, it's a lot of different community members of every single age and every single interest that came in.
Absolutely. Lots of different generations represented at the conference, from high school students that are just getting into radio, lots of university students, people in their 30s and 40s who've been active in the medium for a while, and a lot of retired people who, had other careers and are now getting really involved in the community radio sector.
DJ workshops. I heard you had one. Can you give us some more details?
Another big highlight of yesterday during the conference was Doug Jones and Yale Fox, who I guess hold down residency at the Elixir nightclub near campus, came in with their turntables, laptop, and mixer and showed community radio broadcasters how to DJ, beat match, and scratch using Serato mixing software. So that was really exciting. All of the people involved in that workshop got to try mixing the records themselves and use the equipment, and it was a really, really exciting session. They were pumping out some solid jams.
Canada's finest rugby champions. That's what CFRC stands for, and we are in front of Caruthers Hall. So if you're interested, definitely feel free, go inside, take a look at the radio station, take a look at what they do. On top of that, you can hear everything from the spoken word to politics to your opera, hip-hop, and everything else in between. Once again, it's on 101.9 FM. With Queens TV, I'm Radha Taylor.